Fight for my last job. Hot wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Beat my brother-in-law half to death. Lost $20 on his football bet. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Good old boys, we're all the same. Ain't no way we'll ever change. Ain't no harm about the things we do, or the trouble that we get into. Other than a while, every once in a while, we can't help it, it's just our style. Good old boys, it's all we'll ever be. I got an elderly parent that's 6 weeks overdue. I got caught with a truck full of bootleg out-of-state booze. Knocked my wife's diamond ring last June. Bought me an Alford Ebbing roof. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Good old boys, we're
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash Brent coming in hot on a Tuesday morning. 23 shopping days left until Christmas.
Wow.
Scott
We're gonna start
Tomko,
hearing that now.
Ricky King, Greg Garcia every day till Christmas. That's what you got. To look
Wade and
forward
Carter
to
weather.
on the podium this morning.
Wade and Carter Weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Dearland Feed. Right now is a great time to be putting down Balin. It's a Balon, B-A-L-A-N. I always think of the Tower of Babel. I don't know, it gets religious to me. Hello, Matt Boucher. Feel free to echo in the comments, but right now is a good time to put down a pre-emergent. You don't want those sticker burrs in the spring. You might want to put down a Balon right now.
Throw a little rye seed down. Your grass will be green.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit
that's,
late.
That's
but
what they say. That's what they say. The next thing you know, you're mowing 4 times a week.
Absolutely.
40 degrees in Victoria. Feels like 35 for the Liberals. Going to a high today of 55. Want to welcome in everybody on the No Bull Network, whether you're in Calhoun, DeWitt, Goliad, Gonzales, Karn City, Atascosa, B, Frio, Jim Hogg. Welcome into the Wade and Carter Show. Love having you
KTMV
guys.
and Corpus on the TV.
KTMV on that Roku.
Hey, we're getting into nut cutting time of high school football playoffs, so make sure you sign up and go to thesportsadvocate.com and subscribe. $9.99 a month.
Such a value. I visited with Mike Foreman
There's
the other day.
nobody covering the local teams like Mike.
No, Mike covers everybody, and Mike will tell you. The other day he was like, "Well, I haven't been feeling great, and I had to go to the doctor about this. I had to go to the doctor about that. But I'm covering Refugio. Then I got to go to Bay City. I got to do this. I got to do that." And I'm like, "Man, you're doing more while you're rehabbing than I would do if I was trying to work." He's phenomenal. He's a very gifted writer, and he's also, making ends meet. We want to support Mike. He's done a great job here for 42 years. He wrote for the local newspaper, and I've never had anybody. I've had more people
Cut him
call
loose
me.
with an email.
Yeah, they cut him. No, actually, it
Or
ended up being a phone call.
phone
They
call,
just
yeah.
cut him loose and, "Hey, we don't need you anymore. We're going a different direction," which was advocate speak for the fact that they're broke. And they just got rid of, I knew numerous people who the only reason they took the local newspaper was to read Mike's stuff because he gave you the updates on which game. There are lots of people in our community because of the proximity to all these Shiner, Hallettsville, Bay City, Edna, Goliad. Some of them go and follow Goliad volleyball. Some of them go and follow Shiner football, Shiner baseball. So Mike would give you the schedule, if you will, of what's really going on in the area. For $9.99 a month, whether you want to travel and watch ball or just figure out the personalities involved in our region, you can subscribe to the Sports Advocate. Highly recommend it, and you're doing a good turn. By the way, with Starbucks now striking, I was going to say for the price of 1 cup of coffee, torn bales, buckle down, sir. Starbucks at the bequest. I don't understand. Mamdani is on the streets of New York. That's his job.
With Vermont Senator Bernie
What is he
Sanders.
doing?
Bernie.
What is Bernie doing for Vermont by being in New York, encouraging people to strike against Starbucks because they want a higher wage, more paid time off, more benefits,
More hours to
more
qualify for
hours
benefits.
so they qualify for benefits. See, Starbucks has a model that says, hey, we can employ thousands of kids. We can pay them 10, 12 bucks an hour, and we can work them all 28 hours a week so we don't have to give them benefits. It is a strategic corporate play that you know going in. It's not like you take the job
Yeah.
and they say, oh, we're going to give you benefits and vacation, and then they don't schedule you enough hours. That's not the case. They tell you going in, you get you 25 hours a week, but you'll make more than minimum wage, and you'll learn a skill, and you'll meet some cool people, and it's a fun atmosphere to work in, which I think all of that is true. I don't know how to make a frappe latte. Do you?
No.
Especially not a venti.
No.
But at the end of the day, all of a sudden, Bernie wants it to be a career choice. What are you majoring in?
Think about it.
Cappuccino?
When I was in high school, I'm sure when you were in high school,
I would have been a senior in college at that time.
well,
Go
you
ahead.
would have been. But those jobs, those types of jobs, McDonald's, Burger King,
They're for kids.
they were for high school kids. The only adults were the managers.
That's right.
Everybody
and they weren't
else-
very old.
No. And some day shifters, seniors would work the day shift that were, looking for something to do. But your after school and evenings, high school kids. A lot of times mom and dad would have to drop them off. Then we started changing laws. Why? You can't be 14 and work. You got to be 16 and work. Why? It's stupid. I don't know why. Because government had to get involved into things they probably didn't really need to be involved in. But those were the jobs. Then all of a sudden you've got a group of, I don't know, a bunch of people who think that that type of job needs to be a career.
Yeah, it needs to pay a living wage. We're working. We need to earn a living wage. It's crazy town.
It is crazy town. And now they're striking in New York.
Yeah. BJ, I don't know the minimum wage these days.
$7.25 still.
Is it still $7.25?
Except, I don't know. New York City might have a different living. I mean, that's
I don't
part of the
know.
reason why everybody's leaving Seattle and Portland, because they upped their minimum wage and nobody can afford to run a business in those cities.
You know what gets me, though, is Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, even Los Angeles. People have ruined beautiful parts of this country. I mean, beautiful. Portland is just gorgeous. Always kind of wet, so is Seattle's always kind of wet. I was recently up there, last year, a year ago, this time, I was up there in Seattle for about a week. And I saw more homeless people in a week in Seattle than I've seen in Texas in 10 years. Just schleppy dolts laying around,
Meth zombies walking around.
just crazy.
I saw a stat the other day. I think it was Vancouver, British Columbia. In one night, 54 drug overdoses were averted.
What, Narcan? Or-
Yeah.
Tell you what, that's the concession you need to have is that Narcan.
I've never understood. I mean, if they, okay, the kid at the party who tries something, yeah, give it to him. The guy who's being saved 8 times from Narcan on the streets, let him go.
BJ Nelson shares a stat that I've seen before. It says Dave Ramsey says, if you can graduate from high school, hold a job, and not have a baby, you only have a 2% chance of being in poverty. So see, if you're working at Starbucks as a single person and you decide to have a
With
baby
no dependents.
and you need 12 weeks of paid family leave act, you're just in the wrong regard. You're in the wrong business. Gilbert Ramon shares, I saw 0 homeless while I was in Japan last month. Awesome. Yeah, no, that's great.
I think Japan also has a high suicide rate.
Yeah, if they can't get a job, they just kill themselves. Sure. No. Good morning, TB. We were just talking about the price of Starbucks. Going to be going up, because everybody's got to make $80,000 a year making your cappuccino.
But I mean, Bernie, you're from Vermont.
He does nothing for the people of Vermont. I think you can send him a note on Twitter before to go back and hang out at the house that his wife stole. Clayton and Casey Helt checking in.
Randy
I saw a deal
Randy
on-
Langston, entry level, crew leader, assistant manager, manager, general manager, regional manager, owner.
There you go. Saw a deal on
Move,
Facebook.
work your way up.
Casey Helt put something up. You go on and there's those little, you're all on Facebook. You're watching us on Facebook. Those little pictures. So there's reels, but there's also just pictures. There was a picture of Casey Helt, and I know where she was because I've been to their home. She and Clayton have a beautiful place out in the country, and he's got a barn that he keeps a boat in there because he never has time to fish anymore.
Yeah.
And she's in there with like kettlebells and just sweating. And I thought, poor Clayton. She just whips his tail. She was in there saying it was time to get this back in order or something. She was working out. She and Dawn, overachievers. I wouldn't cross her. You know, Casey, nice lady.
Andrew Alvarez says the price of a loaf of bread will be a day's wages.
That's right.
Gas dropping below $3 a gallon across the nation for the first time since 2021.
Yeah,
I'm not going to give the president credit for that.
I don't either. It's cycles. It's, I think that he's requested it. He's worked towards it. But I agree with you that I don't think that you can't give Donald Trump complete credit.
No, but I would think policies and direction. I mean, it also means the price of oil's down.
I listened to Francis Martels this morning talking about Pete Hegseth. This is one of your headlines of the day. Pete Hegseth under fire for crimes that, well, they actually called it war crimes because allegedly the White House denying this happened and apparently no real notes that show that this actually happened. But even if it did, that Hegseth had on his watch, the United States military had zapped a Venezuelan drug boat twice, and there were survivors, and he went back and said, kill them, get rid of them. Martels pointed out they're not exactly war crimes because, we're not at war with Venezuela.
Whatever the war on drugs.
But she said it would actually be crimes against humanity. But again, I'll tell you, if you have a real problem, if my intention from the onset was to blow you out of the water and you happen to live and I come back and put you out of your misery and you're a drug dealer, no conscience about it. I don't feel bad about it.
No, but in the same breath, those that are mad at that are then complaining about the fentanyl deaths in this country, which are actually dropping, I think, 39,000 or something.
Murder rate plummeting. Yeah. And by the way, I can't give Trump complete credit for that either. Did you know that murders in this country were down, can't be down 2, I think it was down 17,000 murders down in 24, which is before Donald Trump. But that's good. It's going the right direction.
Randy Langston asks, how's our strategic reserves these days? That's a good question. I don't know where they've been. Not much crowing about that. We heard all sorts of stuff when Biden was selling it off to the Chinese, but
yeah,
I don't know where it is. I haven't really
The funny
paid attention.
thing about it is if you look, if you do
Randy,
the math,
fact check it. Let us know. Are they going back up? Are we holding steady? Have we sold off more oil out of our strategic reserve? I honestly don't know.
Our strategic reserve wouldn't last us a very long time. It gives you about a week to figure out what the problem is.
They got to be blowing through it by putting all those warships in the Caribbean.
Yeah, you got to wonder. Trump,
10 or 11 now, I think.
I think it's 11. You told me this morning.
And
Trump
I think the
staging.
Roosevelt Road base in Puerto Rico has been reopened as a result of this.
What do you make of that? Trump
flexing muscles.
Yeah. Hi, Jeff Finley.
What's funny is I saw a story this morning. Venezuela has activated 200,000 troops. Didn't know they had 200,000 people, let alone 200,000 troops.
I was listening to a pundit this morning who said that in just as recently as 1995, which I realized was 30 years ago, but you know what? It just doesn't sound that long ago, does it? 1995?
No.
I mean, you remember where you were in 95. You were sober by then. The Venezuelan
Struggling sports broadcaster.
government, Venezuela was like one of the wealthiest countries in the world. I mean, Caracas was akin to Dubai. Now, it was an older place. It wasn't quite as ideal. But Caracas was a big-time international city, and there was tons and tons of money. It's just interesting how that's not – what are we reading? You saw something.
Randy AI'd. Thank you. But here, what you're getting to with Venezuela, for whatever reason, and I blame the low-educated voters, they got greedy. They had very little less government intervention. They were using oil and gas to help their people get ahead. It was a prosperous nation. It was doing well. GDP was pretty well for a nation its size.
Yeah.
Then the people got stupid thinking the government was going to make things even better. They didn't realize there was less government. So they needed more government, and they fell for Hugo Chavez, charismatic leader, which, apparently all the despot leaders and these types of tyrants are always labeled, they're very charismatic. Hitler was charismatic.
Cuba 2.0.
Yeah. Hugo Chavez, charismatic. Stalin, charismatic, till they start killing everybody that comes after them.
Go up here one click. I'll read one that Stephanie Connie shares, and she didn't. I'm not sure this early in the morning she meant to give us kind of a little pun, but it says the thing on Pete was from an anonymous source. Of course, many military people have blown that accusation out of the water.
Nice pun.
You think she was working that hard this morning, or you think it just happened?
There was probably smoke out of the ears for that one.
Yeah, she thought about that.
But I don't know, it's interesting that. It's just interesting that the
Monty Howard nails it. We've said it here. There's more to the Venezuelan thing than just the drugs. I get the sense that DJT is working on the Monroe Doctrine against the Chinese and Russians.
Yeah, well, we've talked about it. The Chinese for sure are there. They've built the largest naval base in the Pacific in Peru, and they man it. They were controlling the Panama Canal until Trump came along and said, out of there.
But so here's the question for you folks. Who are you going to bomb? Because all of the big-time leaders, the drug leaders and all those folks that you want to get rid of, they all live in Caracas. So if you try to attack or bomb Caracas, you're going to kill a bunch of innocent people. All the drugs that they're selling are being made and grown in Colombia.
Or China with the fentanyl.
So there you go. So now, are you going to go bomb Colombia, which has been an ally of the United States predominantly, although, they're always tenuous, but an ally of the U.S. for a while? I think what you could see happen, I think what Trump is doing, you said flexing, I agree. China, their economy is in trouble, and China is trying desperately to work a deal with the U.S., so they're not really going to want to cross the U.S. over Venezuela, especially when it's on our continent, basically. Then you've got Russia, who has already been exposed as being weak and thin, and they don't really have time to come defend or de facto war in Venezuela either. I look for a regime change in Venezuela early in 26, don't you?
I don't know.
I don't know when their next election is, but.
Well, and here's the other thing. Hezbollah, very active in Venezuela. They're getting involved in the drug trade. They're becoming the middleman between China and Venezuela. Why? Terrorism. It funds it. Because eyes are on the Middle East right now, so Syria can't be throwing money at Hezbollah like they have been.
Right.
Hamas and the folks in Gaza can't be siphoning off the aid money that They used to, unchecked and unabated. So they can't throw the money at Hezbollah.
Frank Mejia says Lane Kiffin's game books were on that boat. There's a sub-conversation going on and by the way, you're always welcome to comment on
or give
Facebook.
us a call, 361-894-4020.
Love to have you. Here's the thing. People are still talking about, we don't hear much about climate change anymore. We don't hear much about
I don't know. La Nina being blamed for this cooler weather.
You blame it. You're just, weather is something you observe. It's not, it's not something that people control. I like the idea. People are still chirping about, good morning, Crystal Map. They're making all this hubbub about the Epstein files. And I think that people have the concept, Ash, that there's going to be a deal in there that says, Wade and Carter were on the plane in September of 98. We hooked them up with the Smith twins from Indiana. They were 13 and 14 at the time. I mean, that's not going to be there. Epstein, I don't get the feeling, I don't know this, but I don't get the feeling that he was simply.
Smith twins said they were 18.
Right. They lied. And that Prince Andrew kept coming into the bungalow. I just don't think you're going to see. Remember that the Brits are just much more formal than
Aside
us.
from Andrew being named
But Queen
by the
Elizabeth
Fear
was-
Girl, and then I mean,
That's it.
I think that's it.
They were hypersensitive. The Brits are so proper. They were hypersensitive. Now, was Jeffrey Epstein a good guy? No, certainly not in his personal life. Was Ghislaine, whatever her name
Maxwell?
is, Jills,
No.
whatever. Her deal is, she was just basically.
She'd go befriend all the young women and take
Yeah.
them to Epstein Islands.
These
No.
are not good people. But the vision.
But everybody on the left at the time was willing to look past all that because they were giving money to all the Democrat
Absolutely.
fundraisers.
Absolutely. Now, Trump doubled down just last week and said, I was never on that island. I have no reason to believe anybody's going to prove otherwise. And neither does anybody. I read these things all the time on social media about, and it's not, doesn't mean they're wrong just because, but there's a number of women that go, we all know that Trump's a racist and a pedophile and yada, 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 and a rapist. And I'm like, no, we don't. I mean, what was that lady's name Jean Carroll?
Yeah.
I mean, just take off your Trump glasses for a minute. Do you really think that this strong, wealthy, independent, public figure was dragged into or even willingly went, she should be able to say no if something was going on she didn't want? Do we really believe that Donald Trump, a guy you've seen in paparazzi pictures for 50 years, that he really in a Bloomingdale store went into a dressing room with her, forced himself upon her, walked out just because I'm rich, I can do whatever I want. There it is. The left hates the rich. And that she sat on that for 30 years. For 30 years? She never told anybody? If you really believe that this wasn't an opportunistic, hey, Jean Carroll will help you sell a book, you're just not very smart. Nobody believes that. Nobody can suspend. These are the same people.
She's the only one that remembers seeing Trump at that Bloomingdale's that day. You don't think nobody else there would have been pictures? The paparazzi followed him around
everywhere
like puppies back
then. And he was
then.
a Democrat at that time. Not even sure he's a Republican now. Folks, Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. I think that we had down that we were going to do it on the 11th, but I don't think we are.
Yeah,
I don't remember why we're not, but I think there's a chance we're not on the 11th.
I think we are.
Okay, we might.
That's next week. We have to. We don't.
First
we're
ball
running
pops
out of
at
week
7:30. Yeah, we're going to run out of weeks. We could just take December off. You can still go to Palace Bingo anytime you want. The food's great. The people are friendly. You can have a birthday
Bingo's
party there.
fun. You can win.
They don't care. You can go find a table, bring your own cake. They don't care. USA Concrete Coatings, 578-HOME. Let USA Concrete Coatings help you sand it, seal it, stain it, paint it, whatever you want done. They'll help you level it, seal the cracks, put down a tough as nails coat that won't.
Crack, stick, peel, or fade.
Veracruz Restaurant today is pre-call to Wednesday, Tuesday. Get in and have some queso, some guac.
I didn't see Bobby Leister check in
Homemade
on pre-call
chips.
Tuesday.
He usually does.
He does, I know.
Get in and see the fair. I had a friend tell me the other day that his favorite part of Veracruz is the drowning enchilada. I remember you used to eat that.
I used to.
That was like porn for me because, my wife
You just
would
have to
kill
watch
me
me
for
eat
that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. I don't think that's true. I don't think Donald Trump did campaign on the release. I don't.
Did, but regardless.
You think he did?
Now he's the only politician to not uphold the campaign promise.
Right. He'd be the only campaign promise he hasn't upheld.
Yeah.
Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300.
You like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Remember that promise?
Right. Oh, yeah. No problem. And your health insurance cost will never go up as the left's tax credits wind down and everybody's health insurance is going up. 578-6300.
And the chopping block.
We'll come
Lots
back.
of great stuff today at the chopping block. Let me get to that because there's some good stuff at the chopping block. Texas brisket boudin at the chopping block this week. Ribeyes on sale for $17.99 a pound. And if you want to get your Christmas orders, prime rib and stuff, get those in starting this week. So go see John. John spent a lot more time in the store, and he'll help you out. Last thought on the Epstein files for today.
Unless I have one.
Well, unless you have one, at least for me. I think people are going to be severely disappointed that think that there's some smoking gun in the Epstein
And
files.
then they're going to claim that they were redacted.
Yeah.
The Republicans took all the juicy stuff out of it.
I think what's at best, somebody's going to spend a lot of time to cross a lot of lines and make a lot of
Right.
whatever the diagrams are where all the lines are connected, and it's going to be circumstantial at best.
That's right.
And that's what you're going to get left with. And that's it. Because like you said, that one piece of evidence that says so-and-so was in this room with the pipe wrench
Right.
in the study and the rope, it's not like Clue. It's not going to line up that nicely.
There's Bobby Leister checking in. He says, sorry, he was a bit busy working. Yeah, I agree. And so we can all agree that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't a good guy. I'm even more willing to.
I think he's a predator and a monster. I'm not going to even call him a
And
good
I
guy,
believe
but he
they
had a lot
killed
of
him.
money.
You believe they killed him?
There's a good chance. I mean, surveillance video that worked perfectly for years all of a sudden didn't for that one period in time, whatever.
That's the whole key. If I would have seen him hang himself,
Yeah.
that'd be one thing. But the camera's off, and in that period of time, he dies.
Here's the thing with Epstein. The leftists overlooked all of this stuff. They knew it. It was the same thing with what's his name in Hollywood, Weinstein. They joked about the casting couch and how to get a part in his movie was he had to lay down on it.
It was on Saturday Night Live. Everybody knew that Weinstein was carrying on the old traditions.
But the leftists looked past it, and a lot of people too on both sides, but it seems mostly Democrats because Epstein seemed to fund the Democrats. They didn't care. They looked past it all because money. That's why.
Yeah.
Then Donald Trump gets elected president, and there might be a connection there. So now Epstein, who was worshipped by the left because he had money
Lots of money.
and gave it freely, they no longer like the guy.
BJ, yes, I watch Landman faithfully. We have a watch party on Sunday evenings. It's already in typical Taylor Sheridan form. It's getting a little hokey out there. They try to make it more and more outrageous every week. But the general story is pretty good.
Very, very plausible. My cousin Jarrett in Canada. The smoking guns, if they exist, are held in certain offices for leverage, and we won't live long enough to see them.
Right.
Because Donald Trump will be dead before any of this ever comes to light if there is something against him. Epstein's already dead. Maxwell's on her way to being dead. She tried to cut a deal, couldn't get out.
I can't get past some of the things that Donald Trump has done. I mean, the observable, some of the philandering and things. And in the same breath, some of the statements that have been attributed to him, I'm glad that there's not always a microphone in front of you and me. I mean, just the casual, the male banter, the inappropriate male banter, the things that are said among men, right or wrong, and ladies too. Don't kid yourselves. You're not exempt from it. Just being honest. If everybody took every word you said and tried to nitpick every word you say, you'd be amazed that they're always there to point out Donald Trump lied. Well, he may have misspoken.
Unemployment would be at 80,000%.
Right. He may have misspoken, but it's because every utterance of that gentleman is captured, analyzed, fact-checked, and then regurgitated. When you talk, sometimes sadly, as much as Donald Trump does, and as off the cuff and off the teleprompter as he does, sometimes he might be more effective if he got some ice cream and went and took a nap. But did you see where the courts recently overturned all of the auto-penned pardons? Did you see that?
No, I did not see that.
A judge ruled that the auto-pen, that those things were not valid. That's interesting. So if do you think that there are some people in D.C. that are cringing that the government somehow may overturn their pardon? Somebody said if you accept a pardon, that's an admission of guilt. I don't agree. If I was in D.C. and I was working and the president said to me, I need you to help with this project, and if anything ever comes of it, I'll give you a pardon. But I need you to work in good faith for me. You're not breaking any laws. That doesn't mean the deep state won't attack you. And if they do, I'll give you a pardon. You could be doing what the president asked you to do, what you believe to be of the highest integrity and in the best interests of the United States. And the president could give you a get-out-of-jail-free card, and that, to me, is not an admission that you thought you were doing anything wrong. It just protects you to do what he thinks is right. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I don't think if I tell you I'm going to give you a pardon, that means you did something wrong. Or you accepting the pardon and keeping that and you're safe, a la clear and present danger. Remember Harrison Ford? Oh, you don't have one of these?
Yeah.
Remember the president? Oh, you have a chip in the big game now. He's like, I don't want a chip in your game. Great movie. Harrison Ford. Before Alec Baldwin bungled the greatest franchise, all the Tom Clancy books. If Alec Baldwin would have done that, he would have never killed that person out in the desert. Think about that.
What was it? Was it Hunt for
Red October was one of them. That was a great movie. They took a Scotsman and turned him into a Russian. That's hard to do.
Something up real quick.
Right, exactly. It's pointed out, Trump said accepting a pardon is an admission of guilt. That's the kind of off-the-cuff garbage that he spews. That doesn't make it so. That doesn't make it so.
Although I do believe when Biden issued pardons for crimes that hadn't happened yet to his family, there's some guilt there.
Things they hadn't even been accused of. Yeah. And yes, the reversal of pardons does include Cocaine Hunter.
So Tammy doubling down on, I just want to point something out, that the Epstein files weren't released during the Biden administration because of an ongoing investigation, and they couldn't do so.
Like that.
Ghislaine Maxwell was found guilty in 2022. There were 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years, where after that,
that's right,
nobody else has been charged with anything. What other investigation is going on? They could have been released after that.
No, and not to mention,
and Epstein was already dead.
There's never been anything sacred in the world of politics. The Democrats were so against the wall in their pursuit. Nobody. It's one thing for everybody to believe that Hillary was going to beat Trump in 2016, but nobody thought that Kamala was going to beat Trump in 2024. They were so against the wall. If they would have had anything, they would have spewed it out.
I mean, all you have to,
because you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
No.
There's no getting around the fact they would have given it up.
And I don't care what anybody says. All you got to look is the data for 2020. And you're telling me that was a fair, honest election? No way.
Boop, Joe Biden. No chance. No chance that was real.
Andrew Alvarez, maybe with the perspective of the day, the Epstein files still don't affect or pay my bills.
Amen.
And that's the thing. It's a distraction from what's not going on
That's right.
every day in Congress. And that's actually getting stuff done for the American people.
That's right. It's the latest Vegas shooting. It's the latest whatever. It's the latest thing to make people, stop and look somewhere other than what's going on. The Trump administration just keeps winning. They're doing great things. People are mad at Pete Hegseth. I think because he's an outsider.
Yeah.
I think they just can't stand it that he doesn't have the pedigree of he's a 4-star general. He served in this and that.
No, that's exactly it. He wasn't an admiral. He wasn't a general.
Right. So those guys that are in the muckety muck, hierarchy, they don't believe
One
anybody.
of them. Yeah.
But they would believe that dude in a skirt, Navy person. What was that person?
Rachel Levine.
Come on, man! Like you want that person in charge of
They
anything?
did.
That person can't even figure out which pant leg to put on.
Yeah, kind of interesting that our own State Department warned the Biden administration against bringing in all these Afghans
They were unvetted.
and said that the majority of them, even back then, probably were aligned, loosely doing work for the Taliban and other terrorists.
Right.
They weren't fully in bed with them, but as we talked about yesterday, the Afghans work for the highest bidder. That's what they do. And these folks may have been doing some loose work for them.
They weren't in bed with them, but they had one goat in the tent. You know what I'm saying?
They provided insignificant, which if you're working for a terrorist group, how insignificant is your work? It's perspective, right? Or limited material support to a designated terrorist organization. This was a report that came out by the State Department about a year after Biden airlifted all these Afghans into the country. So we knew then that there were potential issues with the folks that we were bringing in from Afghanistan. We relied on the Taliban to let the folks onto the planes. And then the Taliban let those planes get off the ground.
Yeah. No doubt. Tammy adds, she agrees with Andrew. Affordability is the issue. Economy is crap. I don't agree at all. My health insurance premiums with no subsidy are up 45%. As we get older, especially in that gap between, say, 60 and 65 before they can dump us off onto Medicaid, or Medicare, which one? Whatever. Old people insurance. The cost to insure and take care of all these people who are, good morning, State Rep Louderback, good morning, sir. The cost of all these people who every event they have is declared an emergency. Don't go to the emergency room. You go to the emergency room, you're immediately in for $500. It's $500. What's going to cost you? It needs to be an emergency or you shouldn't go. Well, when you don't have the money to pay it, they start jamming that back into legal channels down the free market's health insurance program. There is no way. You simply can't tell me with any logic. People complain about their health insurance premiums. Well, tell you what, put down the ice cream. Don't feed your diabetes. Get yourself healthy. Take a lap around the block. Get some sun and try to avoid the hospital. If you go to the hospital, there is no getting around this fact. That machine known as the hospital, they want to admit you. They want to run a CAT scan, a PET scan, and they want to run a couple of x-rays, cha-ching, 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 and here's why. It's $30,000 for this. It's $14,000 for that. They'll take $5,000 from your insurance company after your copay. They'll write the rest off to maintain their not-for-profit status. We had a huge loss on CAT scans. Lost $5 million on CAT scans. Piece of equipment cost $3 million. No, you didn't lose $5 million.
Well, here's the other stupid thing, too. Your doctor knows an x-ray is going to show nothing, but insurance forces you to go through the steps.
That's right.
You need an MRI or CAT scan. They're going to make you do the x-ray first.
Sure.
Then they're going to look at it.
On the X-ray.
Yeah, there's really nothing there, but you're still having pain. We better get an MRI.
Yes, all premiums are up, and not just because of age, but the older we get, our premiums do this because we're more likely to have something. I had a dear friend tell me, he goes, in your 60s, you find out what's going to kill you. It may not kill you till you're 85, but you know that you've got pancreatitis or whatever in your 60s. That's when you find out what's going to get you. Just a fact. I'll tell you what's not going to get somebody. Our buddy Bob Constantine, his kidney is processing urine. He's pulling fluids off of his body, and his liver's functioning. Bob Constantine, unintubated, barking orders. Probably be at bingo by the 11th.
He might very well be.
But health insurance is a lose-lose proposition. They've always milked the Americans because the insurance companies and Big Pharma uses all of our money.
Hand me one of those books over there, that green one right on the end.
Big Pharma always uses our money to do all their R&D. I mean, it's just you're never gonna fix health insurance until you go to a model. All these countries that boast about free health care, they don't tell you that there's no way that Bob Constantine gets a liver and a kidney in Canada. It ain't happening. Sorry, Bob. Hope you had a good life. Am I right?
At his age?
Ain't no chance.
They would have said nope.
So
they told my grandma who broke her shoulder when she was still living at home and gardening.
By the way, she had a 3.8 ERA all time with the Expos. Yeah. She throws her shoulder
till that comebacker,
trying to have a little
got
comeback.
Her. And they basically told her,
Dawson,
you know what? You're just going to have to live in pain for the rest of your life.
Gary Carter. She played with all the old great Expos.
Pedro was nothing until she got a hold of him.
She showed him how to throw that spitter.
So getting back to the economy and to inflation, Ludwig von Mises, great Austrian economist, basically blames government spending for much of inflation and not all of prices. Great book here. What has government done to our money? Murray Rothbard, who's with the Mises Institute. If you'd like a copy of this book, let me know. I've got a few of them.
Yeah,
we've got a few of them. I told him I'd get. He offered some. I said, "Yep, we'll give them away." But it's not a long read. Pretty good little book.
Looks like a good book.
But anyway, it's
good morning.
Gives you
Heather
a different
Stewart.
perspective. But all you've got to do is look at what happened, COVID and post-COVID. We added what, $3 to $5 trillion into our economy from government intervention because we had to do something.
Yep.
And both sides were guilty. Congress was guilty. They authorized the spending. And we've done nothing but CR this spending down the road. We haven't really cut it back. Doge came in and tried, and then we're continuing resolutioning stuff. And what, a few $100 billion that Doge found, really a drop in the bucket when you're spending another $3 to $4 trillion a year?
Yeah, it sounds great, but it's not a lot of money in the big picture. Good morning, Trey Molina. Real quick, we're going to take another break. I want to share one with you. Our friend Jasmine, I'm just drawing a blank on her last name. Doesn't matter. Jasmine Callis. If you go to the Wade and Carter page, this Friday night at the
A&M Victoria in the Walker?
In the
Center?
Walker Auditorium, there's a group, Christian group, but actually a big-time Christian group, Dove Award-winning. It's a fairly big-time deal for Victoria.
Dove, that's the Christian Grammys.
Yeah, big deal. Brian Free and Assurance is the name of the group. It's usually a trio. They may have four with them this trip. But great harmonies, great Christian music. It's $25 a ticket is what she sent me in the promotion. I'm going to tell you what I did and then told her I was going to do. She said, tell me what you need in order to promote this event. If you go to the Wade and Carter page and look at the post I made yesterday that has the poster. It's got the ad on the post. I got you those tickets 2 for 1. So it's 2 for 1. It's this Friday. When does it start? 7 o'clock?
Yep, 7 o'clock this Friday night.
At the A&M Victoria Walker Auditorium. If you will go to, you can call on that flyer that's on the Wade and Carter page. You just say, Wade and Carter sent me, you're buying your tickets for $12.50. And I have no doubt there'll be some Christmas music. It is a Christian holiday coming up. It is Christian music. We unashamedly support that. Brian Free and Assurance. You can look at them on YouTube. They've got some great music. They're really, really a quality act.
361-308-0684. That's Jasmine's number. I'll put it in the comments. All you've got to do is call or text her. Tell her you heard
Say,
about
hey, I heard on Wade and
Carter.
Carter. I want the 2 for 1. Yep. And this is not a contrived scam. I told her, I made a deal. She said, tell me how many tickets. She said, do y'all want to give away some tickets? I said, we may do so. But I said, how about if we do this? How about if we just let our listeners buy them 2 for 1? I said, our listeners aren't opposed to supporting a good time. Now you've got a great value. 2 for 1, couples Friday night. You can go to dinner early or go to dinner after. It'll be a great show. These guys are very, very talented, very talented. So go check that out. Folks, White Trash Services, you want to talk about talent. You got trash, they got people to take care of it. Reach out to White Trash at 550-1826. They'll come out. They can also bring you a dumpster to help you facilitate some early fall cleaning. Sometimes you decide to have a garage sale, but don't want to do it when it's so hot. So you do it in the fall, and you find out that a lot of that stuff has turned into trash as opposed to being, sellable. Bring the dumpster out. You'll love it. White Trash Services, 550-1826.
And they service pretty much every one of the counties that we're in.
Oh,
on the No Bull Network. Calhoun, DeWitt, Gonzales, Carnes,
they're on
Carnes County. Yeah, you name it.
Atascosa. They're in all those counties. Chesapeake Furniture, Chesapeake and Love, make your house a home. Bobby Leon, ready to help you have a new dining room suite for your holiday dining.
Next Tuesday night, Bobby's always involved in the Victoria Rotary Club gun raffle, and that takes place next Tuesday. Tickets still available. Bobby says they're going fast. He's still got a couple left.
It's a great deal.
Yeah, $100, 21 guns. Great deal.
Salute.
300 tickets.
Ads and offer and adsandoffer.com. Ads and offer for your next Chevy, period. Full stop. Hoping to have a big announcement about Ads and offer in the next couple of weeks. Great folks. They're sneaking up on 100 years. 2026 is a year to celebrate for Adsenhofer.
Got a picture of the first car that Ed Adsenhofer delivered
Chevy
by the Moody Street Bridge.
It's beautiful. Wint Services, Wint Electrical for all your generator needs. Turnkey generator service. Reach out to Wint. If you're driving in from the Cuero area, you'll recognize Victoria when you see that huge flag, American flag, flying at Wint. So you got that going for you. Do we have any kind of an Astros update or Cowboys update? First State Bank of Louise. I heard Troy Aikman the other day say this Cowboys team, the Jeremy Clowney and the trade
Jadeveon Clowney,
and get Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney being the key word, South Carolina first round pick. When you get Overshown back, all of a sudden this Cowboys defense looking somewhat legit.
Yeah.
Trayvon Diggs returned to practice. He'll be available against Detroit so he can get burned. Because he does have a chance to get burned.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that A&M, former A&M defensive stalwart Von Miller had to wear a Longhorns jersey. He lost
Click
a
on
bet.
that. Yeah, Sam Cosme, who I'm assuming, where is Von now? Is he with Denver?
I don't know where he is.
I think he's with Denver. And Von Miller, just an A&M legend, just an amazing player. I think arguably a Hall of Fame NFL player. His only real issue being that he just likes the ganja a little too much, or he just gets caught a lot smoking that weed. But by the way, I'm not sure I'm such a big. I will tell you this as a quick aside. I got a text yesterday from Sarah Stogner wanting us to asking if we'd be willing to interview somebody that's running for ag commissioner. I said, sure. I mean, we'll let anybody have a little airtime.
But to get back to that, I think it's good news that the Diggs is getting back. I think that makes the Cowboys defense even tougher.
Yeah.
They've been playing really well. They've got to make a move though. They got until December 21st with him to either get him off the IR or to the active roster, or he'll revert to season-ending injured reserve. And I'm not sure the Cowboys want to do that, but I don't know. They've been playing pretty well. So do you upset the apple cart because of? The rookies have played well.
Actually, it's someone named Hawk. Somebody named Hawk
Okay.
who's running for railroad commissioner. I found it interesting that isn't that our buddy Larry Hagman? What's his name?
Sid Miller.
Sid Miller.
I thought he's ag. I thought he was ag commissioner.
Is he ag commissioner? Who is railroad commissioner?
I guess we can.
We're totally unbiased. I'm just saying. There you go, railroad commissioner. Who's the guy? The Shaka Khan, the third son of the Khan. I don't know who it is. Jim Wright is the chairman. Christy Craddock is a commissioner. Wayne Christian is a commissioner. Okay, so you have there you go. Those are the three. So the railroad commission, this person Hawk. You'll remember that Wayne Christian was the incumbent and ran and beat Sarah Stock. You think that's got some AI on it? Christy Craddock can't be that attractive.
Old pick.
Wayne Christian won that seat and beat Sarah Stogner. Sarah said the next time she calls in, she wants to talk about weed. Imagine that.
Fair enough.
Piece of work. That lady's a piece of work.
So apparently, state comptroller has finalized the rules for the $1 billion school choice. There's and I was guilty of this myself. Got a little up in arms that we gave $50 million contract, or up to $50 million, to Odyssey out of New York to manage the program and to administer it. That works out to about 5%. I would love to see, and maybe somebody knows, but I'm guessing those companies that build our schools, they're not making 5% on those contracts.
Possible. They might be making
12, 15,
yes, more.
20. I mean,
so most
yeah.
students participating in the program will approximately get approximately $10,300 to pay for private school. Students with disabilities could receive up to $30,000.
yeah,
While
this
those
according to
that are homeschooled eligible could get $2,000.
Fox 7 out of Austin.
Now, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but the knee-jerk observation is this is reverse discrimination. I mean, it just simply is. If your kid's got a disability, we'll give them up to $30,000 to go to a different school. Yet we spend so much, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars every year accommodating those with special needs in our public schools. So our public schools are already spending exorbitant amount of money to make sure that every kid feels mainstreamed, part of the program and all that. I realize that private school for kids with special needs costs more money. I get that. But there's no getting around the fact that a special needs kid can get 3 times as much money as a Main Street kid for school. And by the way, you're still paying for all the special needs facilities and arrangements in public school.
Private schools and vendors have up until December 9th to apply for eligibility. Families can apply for funding on February 6th. Says here that many of the families will learn if they've been accepted in the program by early May. Here's something that's interesting. Of all the hubbub we've heard about the school voucher program and school choice program, couple hundred written comments on the draft proposal of the rule was all that the commissioners, the comptroller's office got on this thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of people taking to social media and complaining about this. Couple hundred took time to write a letter.
Formally.
Did it really mean that much to you that you didn't have the time? I
bet we've got listeners that wrote 2 or 3 letters. Yeah, HR manager says yes, but the school has to spend approximately 50% of that money on that child. Yeah, that's true. So say a kid goes in at $7,200 a year. I made the number up. Call it $8,000 a year is what they're budgeting for that kid. They budget, or there is a secondary budget item that say doubles that amount, makes it $16,000 a year. 50% of that has to be spent. The schools get money based on their special needs enrollment. But the increase in pay because of that special needs kid, only 50% of it has to be spent on the kid, which is why, because common sense says, why not just have a special needs school? Because if I'm going to give you $100 and only 50 of it has to be spent on the reason you got the money, the other 50 is free money. So that's why they do it.
BJ Nelson asked the question, did Odyssey contribute to Abbott's campaign? I don't know.
Either before
but
or after.
is that any different than a local vendor contributing to a school board member's campaign, and then that vendor gets a contract that's approved by that board? I don't know.
Melissa Hanson says, I might have applied if this passed before my daughter started high school. I'm not going to move her halfway through. That will be the real test on this will come in about 3 or 4 years when they get a lot of pressure. Because you're right, Melissa. Most people won't move their kid halfway through. And where are you going to move them? I think they've got a dozen empty desks at St. Joe. It's not like you're going to load those kids up and send them all to. And trust me, John Gilley and the folks that run St. Joe are way too conservative. They're not fixing to build the O'Connor Tower, 70 stories of private education. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Somebody enterprising could probably buy one.
And BJ Nelson, I think this is a fundamental problem, and I will continue to talk to my state rep about it. Independent school districts aren't paid on enrollment. They're paid on attendance. And that's not good.
But neither one of those helps VISD because enrollment and attendance is going down.
This is an interesting little-known fact. I want you guys to chew on this as we reach the top of the hour. We'll talk about it at another time. Over the last 5 years, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, enrollment in VISD has gone down year over year, every year. Now, what that tells me is with a basically stagnant population of folks who, because we don't have a lot of young families moving into the area, percentage-wise, our population is getting older. Their kids are graduating. There's not enough new kids coming in to fill those spots. And as a result, older folks whose kids are already out of school are bearing a higher percentage of the educational burden in our community. Chew on that for a minute and see if you think a bond is going to be welcome. Older folks, insurance premiums are going up. They're approaching retirement and potentially a fixed income. Now you want to tax them. Good luck. I'm just saying good luck.
Although we did pass $200,000 homestead exemption.
That helps for about half your house. 1957 frame home that's worth $400 now.
Torrin Bales says maybe tomorrow we discuss Governor Walt's management of his state's tax dollars. We talked a little bit about this 3 or 4 weeks ago on the fraud that was going on with the that was discovered when the government was shut down and SNAP benefits were no longer being given out. And we found that there were a couple of places in Minnesota that were lying about the number of families they were feeding to the tune of tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And a group of Somali restaurant owners, and then a group of Somali doctors that were performing Medicaid fraud or Medicare fraud, whichever, probably both, for tens of millions of dollars, saying they were treating patients that didn't exist.
Yeah.
It's not good. And Walz, apparently, there was a tweet by the state office yesterday or the other day that came out. I saw it over the weekend that basically they said they went to the whistleblowers and they got punished for whistleblowing. They tried to bring light to this almost 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
Why would the governor turn a blind eye to fraud and corruption? Is the governor getting kickbacks from this stuff? I don't know. Sure is interesting. Randy Gutenberger asks, are any private schools increasing in Victoria?
No.
No. And is general population growing or stagnant?
Stagnant.
Well, as the state has increased, 20 to 30%,
We've
depending on
gone
who
2
you
or
ask,
3.
at best in Victoria.
They haven't had to change the population signs in a long time.
We've saved money.
Sitting on the river. Folks, we love you guys. Hope you have a great day today. Be safe out there. Tomorrow's Caldo Wednesday, so get in today and just have a drowning enchilada. Go back tomorrow.
23 shopping days left till Christmas.
Wow. Have a great day, folks.
Bye, folks.